What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Hope everyone's having a good day. All right. So let's jump right into it. We should have, hopefully, whoops, less issues than we had yesterday. I have some videos from yesterday that I still want to go over today. We didn't quite fit everything in yesterday. So let's start with this one. Except why can't you see it? That's a bit of an issue, isn't it? It says it's there, but it failed. So let's delete that, go and add window capture 2. Shit, it's gone. So we'll change it to window capture 1. There we go. Remember when I said we should have less issues today than yesterday? I literally had this set up before stream started, and here we are. We're also trying to run a new overlay today. So I'll have to see how that goes. Oops. All right, this looks much better. It's not perfect, but better than yesterday's. All right, so yesterday everything we covered was upper body. And a couple of these exercises are going to stick with that because this is the same guy that we were watching yesterday, except these are the last 2 exercises that we didn't get to. So here we are doing decline push-ups using the Bosu as one of his last exercises. So what we did yesterday, I forget the entire program, but basically it was a lot of chest and a lot of back. So this is kind of just to wrap it up, hit those stabilizers a little bit and kind of finish off what is left of the chest. So let's see how he does here. So decent starting position. The only thing I would change here from the start is the foot position. Instead of having your foot like backward on the bench, I would actually have your like toes up on the bench, like not straight, like you're not a ballerina, but like have your foot flexed like in an athletic position. I don't like the stretching of the tendons and ligaments doing it that way. So for every exercise, let's have the toes up on the bench, kind of like you're up on the ball of your foot, except you're way forward. If we stop at the bottom, we can see a little bit of a dip here, not much, but it does exist. So we want to keep those hips up just a little bit. Ideally, we want the line from here to here to be straight. And the third point that we're missing is right about there. Can't really see it, but is right about there. So it's just a little too low. Moving it up another inch or two would ensure that we're not completely flat. Because essentially what's happening here, if we clear that, is we have this line, which is essentially a flat push-up as opposed to a decline push-up. And then we have this line, which is on the decline. Whereas if this was straight across, we would then have a decline push-up, right? So he's doing more of a flat push-up than a decline, kind of cheating a little bit, but we haven't started yet. You never know. Maybe he corrects it along the way. So it looks nice and flat there. I really need to fix this app for the blur. Every time we move, the blur decides to take off and go somewhere else. I will say we look good on this line here, which if you were here yesterday, we talked about. That's a terrible illustration by me, but essentially this arm is straight up and down. It looks a little bit like this just because the hand is in a bit of a weird position, but it's actually quite good. I'm okay with that. And then pushing the chest up, we can see, which is good, right here, we can see that the shoulders are retracted because we can see the shoulder blade. If the shoulders weren't retracted here, you wouldn't be able to see that. That's the shoulder blade right there underneath that line. So we like that. Could maybe push his chest up a tiny bit more, but at the finish. But all in all, it looks pretty good. He's still got that little bit of a dip with the hips. But he looks like he's finishing high with the chest, which is what we're looking for here. So I'm pretty happy with that. Also, this gym, wherever it is, needs to inflate their Bosu balls because that's a little flat. But that's not his fault. So he's doing 20 reps here. He's been doing, I don't know if you remember, but yesterday we talked about how everything he was doing was low rep. And then this is just to finish off his workout. So we're jumping from 8 reps to 20 reps at the very end, just to fully destroy whatever is left of the chest at the end. What I'm really looking for here, if we pause it here, is again, keeping this line as he gets tired, which he is doing, which is good. Also, we want that same line to be across the sternum, which you obviously can't see here because his arm is in the way. But that is, if I switch overlays really quick. So he should be here, pushing through the chest. The sternum, of course, right across here. Basically underneath the chest line is what he's aiming for. You can't see my hand, but it's there. You want to be just underneath that chest line with where you're pushing. So let's let this play till the end. Well, you can see there, he did lose it a little bit. And you can kind of tell because this side of the Bosu ball is significantly lower than this side of the Bosu ball. So he's starting to get tired here. We're starting to lose it. And he had a little bit of shift in his form there, which is what I was just praising him about. Let's see if he corrects it. I think he's only got 1 or 2 more reps. Definitely getting shaky. Yeah. That gap's only growing, and then he finishes. Perfect. All right. So outside the last 2 reps, I'd say we get 18 good ones, and then the 2 at the end lost it a little bit. The only other thing is the dip in the hips, but that's a pretty easy fix, so good job. Moving on, we have, I believe, we have 1 more exercise here. So this is going to be rope pushdowns for the lats. This should be high reps as well, if I remember correctly, which I should because I'm the one that made the program. Looks pretty good. Let me pause it once he gets his hands out of the way. All right, so the one thing I would be aware of here is the distance from here to here. It feels like, and I can't say for sure, but it feels like he's intentionally pulling his hands further apart, and I think he's going further than he needs to. You do want some distance there, but that feels further than necessary, and it feels like he's doing it intentionally because he thinks he's supposed to, and I don't think he needs to do it. Otherwise, though, we've got a nice athletic stance. We've got the hips back, we've got the lean forward, which is very important. If, for example, he was completely vertical when you do this, and the arms are, I guess, coming out this way, when you come down in this arc, they're still on the screen, right? Yeah. When you come down on this arc, you're going to lose a lot of the range of motion. You're going to have a dead point at the top. So if we go back, when you're here, now you have the cable here, and that's essentially, there's no tension there on the lat. With where he currently is, when he comes up to the top, right here-ish, you can see the lats are still engaged and he still has tension because of that lean. If he was up higher, he would just hit the stopper at the top, or his lats would be disengaged altogether. So that lean is really important. He's in a good spot here along with the athletic position. That's something we are definitely looking for. And then the push down. The one thing I would do is if I was there in person, I would be checking to make sure the lats are firing here. But this looks really good. This is also, if you've never tried this exercise, this is one of my favorite lat exercises, especially. He's looking good. What's up, Pootie? Yeah, this looks really good. This is probably the best set I've seen you do of this. So, like I was saying though, the only thing is I'm worried that you might be pulling your hands apart a little too much here at the bottom. I wish I could be like him. If you try hard enough, you will, I promise. So I think you missed this part, but I think right here, I think you're intentionally pulling your hands apart more than you really need to. I wanted to, so this is hard to explain, but I want it to happen naturally. I don't want you to be forcing your hands apart intentionally. It's not like you see people do the tricep pushdowns. You were doing it on purpose. Perfect. So I nailed it. That's good. Makes me happy. So yeah, don't pull apart too far. I'm not worried about how far apart you can get it. I'm just worried that you're getting that lat squeeze. It's all about squeezing that lat, right? If we bring up this other screen again, I can give you, hopefully, I can get the angle. So we're here, and then it's just down. And you can even see I still have a huge bend in my arm, but if I turn this way, like my hands are basically right at my hips, and I'm just coming up, and I'm squeezing the lat on both sides. But I mean, other than that, that's really the only thing I can be nitpicky with on this one, because it looks really good. And maintain your form the whole way through. I put those lines there at the beginning of the set, and you're still right on them, which is beautiful. So I am good with that. And that is going to conclude yesterday's workout. I do have some of my own stuff in here. I'm not sure. You know what? I want to look at my squats. These lines are money. They're so good. I love using those. It's a lot of fun for me as well. So all right, let's jump into this, and then we're gonna get into your lower body workout. So I haven't actually looked at these yet, but this is my squat that I did yesterday. And I just wanted to do a quick form check on myself, as we got a dog peeking into the screen here. Oh, Cassius. The spot I want to be looking here is right where he is. I was looking for the butt wink, is what I was ideally looking for here. It feels like we still have a bit of an arch here. We could afford to retract those shoulders a little bit more, but we've got our arms out front here, so it makes it very difficult. I also have to go a relatively wide stance just based on my body geometry. But hopefully the dog moves and we can get a couple reps. So, yeah, that's hard to tell. Oops, that's the line. That's not what I'm looking for. So we still do have a little mini arch here. I think I'm getting just a little tiny bit of a tuck here at the end. It's hard to see with puppers there. Right? Yeah, just that. It's like less than an inch. It's really small at the bottom. Range of motion's good though. All in all. Could be a little better. So that's not I mean, it is a form issue, but it's not a conscious form issue. That's a postural / flexibility issue that I'm gonna have to fix. So part of my first program has been, well, a big part, most of my first program, if we're being honest, is focused on flexibility and mobility and really making sure that I can do everything properly. Because everything is so tight from all the years of damage that were done that I really need to make sure before I add any load to these exercises that I can still do them properly. And it has nothing to do with knowing how to do them properly. It has something to do with the muscles pulling in directions that they're not usually pulling in. The one thing I want to watch on this set rep here is whether my weight is coming forward or if it's through my heels. Okay, that one felt good. The rep before that felt like I was a little forward. We are getting just a tiny bit of a butt wink at the bottom here. Right there, just at the... technically I could probably do this and just stop a little bit sooner, because I'm going down maybe just a fraction of an inch too far, and it's causing that wink at the bottom. But yeah, that's probably what I would do. Not bad though. And then I did get another set of that because I wanted to see it from the other angle. What I'm looking for on this one is a little bit different. So you can see we're going wide stance. What I'm looking for are these lines here. And the stability through the knee is really what I want here. So let's actually, we'll do it at the bottom. Try and put it right on the shin. And then, so that one's pretty good. It's really just during the push that I'm worried about. Oh, I don't know if you caught that. Right there. If you watch the right knee, right here, it's going to flare, well, it's going to flare toward the arrow. Just a tiny bit. Right, where to go? Right there. That's a little too much travel for the knee, for me. And there again, there's a little too much travel. It's like going outside and then flashing inside. That one was actually really good, but there's a couple shaky ones in there. Put it on full speed. Not great, not terrible. I would call it passable. But I got the information I wanted to see. What else did I have going on here? I don't think there's anything else I really needed to look at. Yeah, okay. So, let's move into your leg workout for today. We have hack squats first. Volume still on. I hope this doesn't break it, but that angle looks a little steep to me. We'll see if you come down this far the entire time. Oh, I don't know why that angle tool breaks that. My app hates that thing. I don't know why. But at least you know what I'm looking at here. Yeah, you're down a little. So you're not only down a little far, but I think I would prefer your legs a little higher. Just a little bit. So you can go a little below, but what I think you could do is probably go the same range of motion if you moved your feet up. But if you watch what's happening, let's give you a new color here. So you're coming down on this angle. And this angle here is a bit much for your knees. You're putting a ton of pressure right there on your knee because of that small angle. On the middle of the side of the pad. I just want it higher on the pad, that's all. No, you don't need to go wider or narrower. That's more of a feel thing. I just want you higher on the pad. That way, if we use the same line, so say you come down just as far, you come down to here, but if your feet are up here, then all of a sudden, this angle's not so bad anymore, right? And we're taking a lot of pressure off your knee. You're still getting the same range of motion, essentially, but we're taking pressure off your knee. So it's less about you going down too far. It still, I think, is a little bit, but I think it's less about you going down too far and more about where your foot placement is. Because I don't want you putting too much pressure on the knee, especially when you've mentioned before that you felt pressure on your knee in other exercises. So and I can visually see it as you're pushing the attention right there. Right there. I'll also suggest relax a little bit. Your upper body is very tense, and you don't need that. It's really supposed to be all about this, right? I can literally see your like knuckles turning white, your arms are flexed, your face is strained, like your whole upper body is just like try and release the upper body, focus on the contraction in the lower body instead of putting it all into the upper body. But those are the two things that I would change. I know it's heavy, but there's a difference and you'll feel it. If you think about it while you're doing it, you'll notice a difference. Like, because there's no need to like have your hands flex. Like, you can't push it up with your hands. It's impossible. So it's not doing you any good. Technically, you could let go of those handles and it's not going to make it any harder. The strain on the face is, I mean, it's going to happen, but just trying to relax the upper body will let the energy be used on your lower body instead of you wasting energy on the upper body. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, I would definitely move your feet up a little more. Otherwise, though, it looks good. Those are the two things. As you're starting to lose blood flow to the upper body. Yeah, it looks good. Those are definitely the two things I would change there, though. I don't remember what this is, but we're gonna find out. Oh, sumo squats. That's what this is. It's gonna blur the whole line. This looks pretty good. The only thing, if I'm gonna be picky, actually before I do, your angles look good. This is based on the camera angle, but your shins are straight up and down. You got a good depth overall on both of them. The only thing I would change is maybe you can afford to space your feet out a little more. You look at your stance is a little narrow. Because I want you to be really wide on these. And make sure you keep those shoulders retracted. We got another set here, so we'll go into the next one, but please don't hold it like that. You had it right the first time. Why did you change your grip? I was so happy that you were holding it the other way. You're trying to get a high, oh, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get a bigger range of motion. No, you had it right the first time, but watch what happens here. God, we messed up the blur. So watch your lower back and watch the butt wink here. I've got it as slow as I can make it. Right here it starts, and then your whole butt's gonna curl underneath here. See that? You've got like this rounded thing going on at the bottom of your squat here. So you're definitely too low. Part of that will get fixed by widening your stance. And part of that will get fixed by switching how you're holding that dumbbell, because you won't be able to go down that far. Yeah, you're just too narrow on your stance here is the main thing. I really don't know what to do with my other hand when we're doing this. If you would have stopped right like at 90 degrees, it actually would have been pretty good. This is a little after 90 degrees. I was a little late on the pause button, but if you had stopped here, you'd be in a pretty good spot. You still got this. You're not quite curled underneath yet. I do want more shoulder retraction on both sides. If you refer back to some of the things we talked about yesterday, when your shoulders are retracted, we can see the shoulder blade, right? Here, we can't see the shoulder blade because your shoulders are too far forward. Let me see if I can show you what that looks like. All right. So if my shoulders are forward, let me do it here so you can get a white background. When my shoulders are forward, you can see it's just curved. When my shoulders are back, you can kind of see the shoulder blade protruding, if I can get you a white background. And that's what we're looking for. I want to be able to see that shoulder blade, and we can't quite see it here. Like here, you're still pretty good, other than the shoulders. This is still an issue. But this is good, this is good, this is good. And this is still flat. The problem is from here on, it's like from here to here, you get this curl. You're literally following that arrow once you hit that line. That's as good as I can illustrate that. It won't get much cleaner than that. And obviously you're gonna struggle with your grip here as well, which I can see you trying to re-grab it because holding it that way is awful. More for you than for me. All right, leg extensions, I'm expecting to be spot on here. Good start. Lessons learned, yeah. I can't imagine trying to hold that like that, especially as you get heavier, because I'm gonna want you to bump that pretty heavy. Like there's no reason for you to be doing that exercise light, especially once you're holding it properly. It'll be come down, tap the floor, and come back up. So I'm very happy to see that you are leaning forward. We have this nice gap here, which is ideal. If anyone's watching this that wonders why we're doing this, if we change this line to here, I know, I'm so happy you remembered that. That was the first thing I was thinking. I was like, I wonder if you remember to lean forward. So if we change this angle so that you're leaning back against the pad, a couple things are going to happen. One, you're probably going to have a hard time reaching these handles. And most people do, because you're supposed to be leaning forward. Two, if we undo that, the first thing that's going to happen, instead of pushing with your quad, which of course your quads are here. Instead of pushing with your quad, you're going to push with your hips. And your hips are going to want to come up off the bench. Instead, doing it the way we're doing it now, everything is coming up in this direction, and therefore, everything's going to land on the quad. And this is so side benefit, but the reason why people injure themselves doing this exercise is because they're leaning back, because they're thrusting their hips, but also because the weight is way too heavy and all that pressure is going onto their knee, right at the bottom of their knee here, instead of onto their quad. One thing I would say about your position, and I can't really tell, it looks like your machine has an adjustment here. If I go back a couple of arrows, I would like this pad to be a couple inches lower. That pad's a little bit high. The rest of your position looks good. You are... It looks like this is through the axis point, but your second axis point is here. So when we're pushing, your foot's coming up this way. If you push through here, if you push through this can still move around that, but you're not pushing through there. And it creates a weird, like, a weird circle. And it's also going to really hurt your shins on top of it. So I would prefer, if you use this adjustment, to drop that down a little bit. Maybe 2-3 inches, just so it's in, like, it's off your shin and it's on the soft part of your ankle right below where the shin stops. Now the question is, do you keep your form? Actually, before we go any further, what are we looking for here? We're looking to keep the chest up, the same as every other exercise. We want to keep those shoulders back, chest up, and we want to keep these lines that we've already drawn. We want to keep that lean forward with little to no movement, and therefore, again, everything coming right onto here on the quad. Looks good. Be super aware of the head thrust. I know we got you hidden up there, but try not to do that head thrust when you push. It's very tempting, but you're in a good position already. Don't ruin it. That setup really looks like it's hurting your shins. I can feel it. But you're definitely on the quad, which is good. And you're keeping that lean. You're still on that line without leaning back, which is beautiful. Looks like the head reach has stopped as well, as you got a couple of reps in there. Happy with that. Like I said, the only thing I would change is the height of the bottom pad there. What the hell? Why? Why are you being weird? There we go. All right. Let's see what we got. Nice lean forward, chest comes up. Honestly, it looks like the pad's in a slightly better position. It's still too high. Maybe it's not. Yeah, I think it's just your pants are in a different position. Because you're still up here, and I would like you probably like there. Good news though, chest is up. We're still off the back. It doesn't look like you've got as much head thrust as we did in the first one. And we're maintaining this line. I want to watch this again at full speed to see your actual tempo. You got a couple. Yeah, let's watch it again. So I will say, when we watch it this way, I'm gonna call you out a little bit here. You're going a little fast. You're like throwing it up and then cheating yourself on the way down. It looks really good in slow motion, but you're gonna have to slow this down a little bit because you're definitely throwing the weight up there. And you're getting less out of the way down than you could. You definitely get a lot more benefit out of this with a similar weight, or even less. And don't cheat your... Be very careful to not cheat on your way down. You don't want to end up here when you're supposed to be here. Let me slow this down again. Oh, that was the last rep. I want to try and dial this in here. So we're here. Yeah, you could probably afford to bring this like back to here. Give yourself a little more range of motion. You can see if that pad was a little lower, that would probably help there as well. So that would be my fixes for those two. I'm actually, in the interest of time, I'm gonna skip over your step-ups for today. We'll do those tomorrow. Because the one I want to look at most is this one. I've been thinking about this exercise all day today. And curious how you did it. I intentionally didn't watch it. Maybe. Let me watch it again. I don't think you got it. I think you're close. You had the right idea. Yeah, you're a fraction too late. So I had such high hopes for you here. We had this line, you were all set. When you come down here, if you stay in a straight line the whole way, the weight will load for you, right? But instead, you make the mistake of bending at the hip. If you would have just stayed straight the whole way, weight would have come up a couple inches and you would have been loaded. Instead, now you're down and you kind of pick it up off the thing at the very last second. We'll see how that affects your form. But ideally, we want you to axis. Oh, crap. We want you to axis around that green line, right at the hip. So it's just tilting into it at the hip to load the hamstring here. And I'm guessing, because of the way you loaded it, we're gonna have it in slow motion when I hit play. But I'm guessing the first thing that moves is right there. I'm guessing that lower back pops up and we get a little bit of butt rotation here as well. I wasn't expecting as much butt movement as we got. Hold on. And it was also, I forgot to slow it down. Let's come back here. Okay. So let's draw this and go from here. So your back didn't come up, which is a good thing. So we can cancel that arrow. You went the other way though. We went this way instead with the butt contracting up. So you're still getting the back flexion. You just didn't, your back didn't come up when you did it. Instead, if we clear this, you've got this line and the back flexing is actually arching more. So instead, you're coming up in this direction, which is why your hips are rotating into your back, which is essentially, if you, let me switch things again. So this is your vertebrae. When your back flexes like that, you're going like this, right? You've got that weird extra flexion, which obviously here you could feel some back discomfort because you're going to be bone on bone there. So if you feel lower back discomfort doing this, you know you didn't load the muscle properly. So getting a lot of hip rotation there in this direction. Where can I draw a line for you? Here? So if these are your hips, watch it go around the hip and your butt's way up in the air now. And now you're on like this angle. Maybe not quite, maybe that angle. So this is all a result of the loading the muscle at the beginning. So this one, we struggled with this on the single leg curl. This should be easier with the double leg curl because you can just lean into it and kind of fall into it naturally. Let's bring up the second one. Turn off the volume, slow it down. Let's see what you do. So when we're talking about this loading again, it's going to be before you grab the handles. Like clearly you're not going to be able to reach the handles from here. Also, be really careful that this isn't too high as well. We want this right above the heel. We don't want it on the calf. It's hard to tell from my angle. You'll have to feel that out on your own, but that's what we're looking for. So from here, you're in a good spot. This is the line we're looking for to start. We want you to hinge around this bend in the bench and let the weight come up just a little bit. You're going to bend a little bit at the hip, so you can't stay perfectly straight, but you should be trying to. And just hinge around that point on the bench, and you'll drop right into position. The muscle will be loaded, and then really focus on everything staying strictly on the hamstrings. Instead here, you lay down and then try and engage the hamstrings, and it's already too late. If we start with your hip position is a little more vertical this time, which is fine if you were loaded, but watch this, actually, let's draw the line here. So that's your start position. And now you're like here. That line's a little too drastic. The red one's a little too drastic. It's not that much. Stop looking at the camera. And if I want to be really picky, your feet are flexed as well. So try and remember, relax your feet. You had the same problem in the single leg curls where you were getting like calf cramps. Remember that here, because we really want the feet relaxed and everything rotating into the hamstring instead of your calves flexed, your arms flexed, your face flexed, and your back flexed, and dodging your hamstrings. You're still hitting them, but you could get a lot more out of this if you loaded the muscle and relaxed the rest of your body. I have another pointer I'm going to give you now. Don't worry about it too much until we get the loading dialed in. But once you've got the load dialed in, if we bring this back, pause it right here. So once we have the load dialed in, what I would actually like is as you go down, or sorry, as your legs go down or as the weight goes down, I want your upper body to shift up just a tiny bit. This has got to be very minimal. It's only an inch or two, but think of it the same way as your lat pull down. When you come up with your lat pull down, your shoulders absorb here. Let me switch this for you again. When you're up, we don't keep the shoulder retracted. We let those shoulders reach up and extend forward. That's the same sort of thing with your upper body here. We want the upper body just to come up a fraction, maybe 2-3 inches, to absorb that weight at the bottom. And then as you come back down, your body can go back down again. So let me see if I can illustrate that for you. So currently, we're here-ish. And then at the bottom, obviously, this is going to be the same. Then you've got this. But this one, we maybe want up here, like that. Just a little bit. Just that little bit of an extra hinge to try and absorb that. That impacted the bottom. Because when you come down, if I draw this, when you're coming down in this direction, stopping that weight is a lot of pressure. And you don't want that, you don't want to like strain something on the way down. You want just a little absorption just to kind of soften the blow at the bottom as you change directions. But that's it. Otherwise, it looks really good. Those are the two things that I would be worried about, is the loading and then trying to absorb a little bit of that blow, because your upper body is super stationary. And you keep looking at the camera for some reason. Hopefully there's a cute girl over there. Don't tell your wife. Oh yeah, and your foot position. Try and keep your feet relaxed as well. And there we go. So yeah, I think that's where we're gonna wrap things up for today. We still have a few more leg exercises and core exercises we can get to tomorrow. So we will be back tomorrow. If anybody wants to send in their clips, just make sure you join the Discord and send in your clips on the Discord so that I can see them ahead of time, because I do have to prep them and make sure that they are on my tablet before I start stream. Otherwise, I won't be able to illustrate over them. So thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the stream. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and we will see everybody tomorrow. Bye for now, guys.